Welcome back. This is Lee and Alison from the Law School Toolbox, and today we are going to be talking about what you can do now to get ready for law school. Okay, next up, let's talk a little bit about mindset. And what mindset should someone adopt before starting law school?
Well, I think this is a great question. I think a lot of people feel sort of apprehensive, maybe nervous, maybe scared even. I think all these are valid. You might also feel excited. You know, sometimes you can reframe nervousness as excitement. But frankly, I'm not sure most people really understand what they're getting ready to start doing or get into. So I think there also is a lot of kind of misconceptions around what law school will be like. But I think the best mindset is really embracing this as a challenge and something that you're going to be able to get through with the understanding that it's going to take some work. It's probably going to have some difficult moments, but you know that you can do this.
Yeah. I mean, I think we mentioned, in earlier, like the Carol Dweck book on mindset, which is kind of still seen as one of the quality discussions on this topic. I would say that if I had to think about one thing you really want to think about going into law school is resilience.
Right.
Everyone is going to be challenged by something. It could be in law school. It could be life. Something will deliver that will make this a challenging experience for you. And you have to be resilient because, life doesn't stop for law school, but law school also doesn't stop for life. And I think that setting yourself up for that resilience is also really important. So you have to ask yourself, like, what you can do to do that. Maybe that is making sure you have mental health support and that you have a therapist that you like, or engaging with student services early in the semester. So you have mental health support before you're finding that you're, struggling with anxiety or getting depressed or having insomnia or one of the many things that we see with law students. But, you also may know that there are certain non-negotiables that keep you resilient, right? Maybe you're an avid runner, or you like to go on long walks, or you need to spend time with your dog, whatever it might be. It doesn't really matter, but you need to be honest with yourself so you can build that into your schedule. And then that's going to help you show up to be the best possible version of yourself. And I think that if you can do that, then you can weather the bumps, and hopefully keep a little perspective. Because I think that the perspective keeping is also really hard when you're in this pressure cooker and everyone is super stressed out and acting like every single thing is kind of life or death. And the reality is it is hard, but every single thing is not life or death.
No, very little in law school is truly life or death.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of much of anything. Mm-hmm. So I think, understanding that this is going to be a new experience, you're probably going to feel uncomfortable at points. You might even feel super lost in the beginning. You might feel really frustrated, but setting kind of realistic expectations. Going in, there's the classic survey that I saw once of, something like, I think it was 50% of incoming law students thought they'd be in the top 10% of the class, and like 90% thought they'd be in the top half or something. Those numbers do not make sense. No. And the reality is you don't really control the outcome because everything's on a curve. And I think that's a challenge for a lot of people to really internalize, is that not everybody's going to get an A. Very few people are going to get an A, and that's okay. You don't need to get an A to get through law school. You don't need to get an A to get a job. These things will come to you regardless, basically. So just, you've got to kind of be open to these new ideas, to these new ways of thinking and learning, but also to this new evaluation system that frankly is not very fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to just weather that. I just think you have to
roll with it.
Roll with it. Do your best. We often will say, like, the grades will fall where they may, right? We have no control over exactly what scores we get. All we can do is show up and give it the best chance that we can with the best preparation we can. And so I think if you can just keep that in mind, that your goal is to show up for those final exams as prepared as you can be, with a good mindset and giving it your all, then the grades will fall where they may, but you should feel pretty good about the effort that you put in. And I think that's really your best case scenario.
Right. And I would add having slept, having eaten, having, done all of the things that you need to do to show up in a condition to take that exam. That
Yes.
does not mean pulling 3 all-nighters in a row and eating nothing for 2 days because you're too busy to cook. That is not putting yourself in the best possible position. So these are all things that need to be thought about when you're thinking about, how you want to approach this.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to give us a like, leave us a comment, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future content. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on the contact form at lawschooltoolbox.com.
And stay tuned for the next video in this series.